access to the examination room. So at times, there are people who pay their tuition fully, and at times there are people who have paid some half, or at times there are people who have not yet even paid fully at all. So according to the previous semester, there were people managed to hack the student portal and they were able to generate the school fees. They were able to generate the school fees. I mean, they were able to generate the examination permit. So my AI problem. So particularly people, this this is somehow unfair to to people who have paid their tuition and those ones who have not yet paid. So particularly sometimes even people impersonate, and then you can the invigilators can't tell who, if this is the very student or if this is not the very student. So my AI problem is entrance at the examination room, and also so that now in my next slide. So what do I want my AI to do? I want my AI to use face recognition to solve the entrance, to solve the solution at the entrance of the examination room. So particularly, I don't want I the issue of printing examination permits. I think it's getting outdated. People keep on moving with papers, and these are paper. Sometimes it can rain. So by the time someone reaches the examination room, it is already wet, and there is no way they can stop. So particularly, I want the AI to be able to distinguish between a student and a non-student, and the AI can be able to distinguish who has fully paid for the fees and who has not yet fully paid for the fees. So particularly, most probably it can use the face recognition. That means I want data from the university, maybe the university college registrar, or yeah, particularly the university registrar, to help out with that information, so that in case, so that the user machine, it detects your face, then it translates back to if you have fully paid for the fees, if you have not yet fully paid for the fees, and all that stuff, to see if you're eligible to sit for the examination, if or if not, or if you're just impersonating. So the types of data to solve the above problem would be the visual data. This is because face this is the data that is captured by cameras, meaning since I said it needs face recognition, that means different students have different faces with different skin colors. So it is easy to use a face scanner that can scan the face of the student and connects to the database to verify the student details. This is because sometimes the university can have all that information in their database. Then textual data. This is data that is obtained from using cameras, scanners, or digital documents. So in case maybe when the system is down, they can use again, in case someone has got a letter from the from the college registrar, they when it has like a QR code or a scanner, they just have to scan, then they have to verify if that student has been granted permission to sit for the examination. Then also, I would like to take you through the differences between supervised and unsupervised learning. Supervised learning is a machine learning method where models are trained using labeled data. So that means these machines these machines have been trained with the data. The machine does not learn on its own how to source for the data. And yet in unsupervised learning, it's a machine learning method where models are trained using unlabeled data. For example, a machine can be in supervised learning, a machine can be trained to say, this is a cat, this is a dog. Then the output, it has, that means if it has been trained using labeled data, the output has to be known. Unlike in unsupervised learning, where the output can't be known. And also, labeled data is provided to the machine. The model is given only. Then in the unsupervised learning, the model is given only input data. The machine is only given input data. That means it cannot output, it will output data, but basing on what it has got from its environment. The training session in supervised learning, the training session for the model is well defined. This is very clear because the training session for the model is well defined. This is because data is fed directly into the model since it is labeled, unlike in supervised learning where the machine has to learn back on its own. So there is direct feedback in supervised learning, while there is no direct feedback in unsupervised learning. This is because in direct feedback, the machine is given input data. That means it has to, that means the output data is already known. Unlike in supervised learning where the machine keeps learning on its own. The algorithms used include linear regression, linear trees, and so on in supervised learning, while the algorithms used in supervised learning are a priori, C-means, and so on. So in supervised learning, the model the model predicts the feedback. This is because it has been given the input data. Unlike in supervised learning, where the model finds the hidden patterns in the data. So supervised learning, it's classified into two. That is to say, regression and classification. While in unsupervised learning, it's classified into two, association and clustering. This will be explained as we move on. Supervised learning techniques I would use to solve my AI problem would be the KNN algorithm. This is because it can be used to determine the eligible students who are allowed to do the examination. This is because it can be used to determine the eligible students who are allowed to do the examination based on their student payment details. Of course, the KNN algorithms, you feed in the data, then it can determine who paid, who didn't pay, who is just. Then also the linear regression, this can be used to determine the faces of students. The faces keep on varying. Different people have different faces. This is because different people have different faces. There is a person who has a cat face, there is one who has a dog face. So in the unsupervised learning techniques I would use to solve my artificial intelligence problem would be the K-means algorithm. This is because it can be used to determine the students who have fully cleared the tuition dues, or those who have paid half dues, or who haven't paid any fees. Then the a priori algorithm, this can be used to determine the association between students who pay their tuition on time and those who don't pay their, who don't. I think that those ones are self-explanatory. And also the artificial intelligence techniques challenges likely to be faced while trying to develop this artificial intelligence problem, determining the right data set. So for one to have access to the data, they should get data from a sources like the college register, which at times may be possible. So sometimes there is confidential information. That means you will not be given access to that confidential information. And also there is the bias problem. Good data is a key to developing a good AI system. Therefore, if the data isn't good enough, the university may face implementation challenges like differentiating a dog from a human being. This problem is like, for you, if you don't have good data, like your data is almost similar, or there is no unique feature about it, it will be very difficult for you to implement, because if your face recognition that cannot recognize, maybe there is a white, then there is also a brown person, they cannot differentiate, you're going to get a problem to determine to get the right student. And also there is data security and storage. Since here we are dealing with large amounts of data, because when you look at the College of Computing itself alone, there are other different courses being offered. There is Bachelor of Information Systems. So that means there is a lot of data. And then if there is no security for that data, and you cannot store that data properly, that means you're going to face problems because different students have different details. That means you have to connect each and every student so that they have their own details. So the next one is the solution to the AI challenge. This is determining the right data set could be solved by one getting in touch with the college registrar. So one has to get information from the college registrar because you cannot get this data on your own. You cannot determine who paid the fees without accessing information from the college registrar. Then also the bias problem could be solved by developing easily explained algorithms that can easily be read. I think that one is self-explanatory. Then data security and storage can be solved through the use of the then-based data management environment for sensitive data and training algorithms for AI applications being used. So data security and storage can be, you have to train the algorithm, the AI applications being used, so that I think this one is also self-explanatory. Then also different then differences between accuracy, precision, recall, and F1 score. So accuracy is the fraction of the predictions the model got right. So accuracy is like true positives and the true positives and the true positives. Okay, we're going to define it here. Hold to the next line in the slide. The next line on this very slide shows that accuracy is equal to the number of predictions divided by the total number of predictions. So the total number of predictions are like the true positives, the true negatives, plus the false negatives, plus the false positives. So particularly TP represents true negatives, TN represents true negatives, FN represents false negatives, and FP represents false positives. So recall, so precision in a model describes how many detected items are truly relevant. That means the formula for calculating precision is true positives divided by true positives plus false positives. Then recall is a measure of how many relevant elements were detected. So therefore, recall is equal to the true positives divided by the true positives plus false negatives. F1 score is the harmonic mean of precision and recall. So the F1 score is equal to the 2 brackets precision times recall divided by the precision plus recall, then brackets. So the appropriate AI evaluation metrics for my AI project would be the accuracy. This is because there is equal distribution of data since the students are registered by the college registrar. So there is no way we are dealing with equal number of students. I mean the number of students are already in the system. That means we already have information. So, and also the F1 score, this is because at some point the data is imbalanced. This is explaining the face, recognizing someone's face. It will really be very difficult if you classify the faces to be the same. I've come to the end of my YouTube presentation. I hope you like my presentation. Please click on the like button and share.